the most dangerous places to live on Earth. There are places on our planet so beautiful they take your breath away, volcanoes glowing under the night sky, endless deserts stretching to the horizon, or islands surrounded by turquoise seas. But beauty can sometimes hide danger. Across the Earth, there exist regions where nature, climate, or even humanity itself has created environments nearly impossible to survive in. From deadly temperatures to unending storms, from radiation to war, these are the most dangerous places to live on Earth. Imagine waking up every morning knowing a single mistake could cost your life. In some places, that's not imagination, it's reality. For example, in the small town of Norilsk, Russia, residents breathe some of the most polluted air on Earth. Yet, thousands still live there, working under harsh conditions, surrounded by toxic snow and heavy metals in the air. Or consider the volcanic island of Montserrat in the Caribbean, once a thriving paradise, now half buried under ash after its volcano erupted in the 1990s, forcing thousands to flee. But not all danger comes from nature. Some comes from human conflict, like the war-torn streets of Aleppo, Syria, where years of violence have turned a historic city into ruins. Others live under the shadow of radioactive contamination, like Chernobyl in Ukraine or Fukushima in Japan, where invisible particles can kill silently. And yet, people stay. Why? Because danger is not always enough to drive humans away. Some stay for family, others for faith, and many because they have nowhere else to go. Humanity's greatest strength, and weakness, has always been its ability to adapt, no matter how unforgiving the environment. In this video, we'll explore 6 of the world's most dangerous places to live, places where life continues against all odds. We'll discover how people survive, what makes these regions so lethal, and what lessons they teach us about resilience, survival, and the fragility of our planet. So buckle up, this isn't just a journey around the world. It's a journey into the heart of danger itself. Located in eastern California, Death Valley holds the record for the highest temperature ever recorded on Earth, a scorching 134 degrees Fahrenheit 56.7 degrees Celsius. Here, the ground can sizzle like a frying pan, and the air feels like an open oven. It's a place where car engines overheat, metal burns your skin, and even birds struggle to fly in the dry, heavy air. Despite its deadly name, Death Valley isn't empty. Around 300 hardy residents live in Furnace Creek and nearby areas, working in tourism or research. They've adapted to extreme heat with carefully timed activities. Most outdoor work happens before sunrise or after sunset. Locals drink gallons of water daily and rely on air conditioning like life support. But Death Valley's danger isn't just the heat. Flash floods can appear out of nowhere when distant rainstorms send walls of water through narrow canyons. At night, temperatures can suddenly drop, shocking unprepared travelers. The desert's isolation adds another layer of threat. There's often no phone signal, and rescue can take hours or even days. Still, for those who live here, Death Valley is more than a death trap, it's a place of stark beauty. The sand dunes, salt flats, and rocky canyons create surreal landscapes that look more like Mars than Earth. NASA even uses this region to test Mars rovers in a way. Death Valley represents the paradox of danger. It kills carelessness but rewards respect. To survive here, you don't fight nature, you learn to move with it. On the quiet plains of northern Ukraine stands one of the most infamous places on Earth, Chernobyl. Once a bustling town filled with workers, families, and laughter, it's now frozen in time, a ghost city abandoned after the worst nuclear disaster in human history. On April 26, 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant's reactor number 4 exploded during a late-night safety test gone horribly wrong. The explosion released 400 times more radioactive material than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. A deadly invisible cloud spread across Europe, contaminating the land, the water, and even the air people breathed. In the nearby city of Pripyat, 50,000 residents were forced to evacuate within 36 hours. They left behind toys, photos, clothes, pieces of everyday life suddenly turned poisonous. To this day, radiation levels in some parts of the Chernobyl exclusion zone remain dangerously high. Forests glow faintly on Geiger counters. Wild animals roam freely through empty schools and decaying apartments, their DNA slowly altered by radiation. But here's the strange truth: people still live near Chernobyl. A few hundred self-settlers, mostly elderly villagers, returned years after the disaster. They grow food, raise animals, and live quietly in the contaminated zone. When asked why, they say simple things like, "This is my home." Some scientists argue that radiation isn't the only danger here. Loneliness, isolation, and displacement can destroy lives too. In recent years, the site has become a symbol of human resilience and human error. Tourists now visit the exclusion zone wearing protective suits, guided by experts who measure every step with Geiger counters. What was once a place of horror has become an open-air museum of tragedy, a reminder of how our technological ambitions can turn against us. Yet nature, incredibly, is reclaiming what humans abandoned. Trees grow through floors, wolves and bears hunt among crumbling buildings, and eagles soar where smoke once rose. It's both haunting and beautiful, a post-human paradise that whispers a warning: when we're gone, the Earth will continue without us. Chernobyl is dangerous not because of what it looks like, but because of what you can't see. Radiation has no color, no smell, no sound. It kills slowly, invisibly. A single breath of radioactive dust can plant death inside you that takes years to bloom. That's why Chernobyl remains one of the most terrifying places on Earth, a scar of human arrogance, and a lesson we can never afford to forget. As the rusting Ferris wheel of Pripyat stands silent against the grey sky, it seems to ask one question. If we can build such power, why can't we control it? Rising above the lush jungles of central Java, Indonesia, Mount Merapi, whose name literally means a mountain of fire, is both a giver and a destroyer. It's one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes on Earth, erupting regularly for centuries. Yet, astonishingly, tens of thousands of people still live on its fertile slopes. To outsiders, this may seem unthinkable. But to the Javanese people, Merapi is not just a mountain, it's a living spirit. Local villagers believe it is home to supernatural guardians who protect their land. Every year, they hold ceremonies, offering rice, fruit, and even animals to appease the spirit of the volcano. For them, Merapi is a sacred force, dangerous, yes, but also divine. Merapi erupts almost constantly, with small tremors and smoke visible nearly every day. Its larger eruptions, however, are catastrophic. In 2010, one of the deadliest eruptions in decades sent pyroclastic flows, clouds of superheated gas and ash, racing down the slopes at more than 100 kilometers per hour. Entire villages were buried. More than 350 people lost their lives, including the beloved local shaman, Mbah Maridjan, who refused to abandon his post as the guardian of Merapi. He died praying inside his home, fulfilling his duty to the spirit of the mountain. The danger of Merapi is unpredictable. The ground can look peaceful one day and erupt the next with no warning. Lava flows destroy roads and farmlands, ash rains down for miles, turning day into night. For those living nearby, it's a constant balancing act between survival and faith. The soil around Merapi is among the most fertile in the world, enriched by centuries of volcanic ash. This is why so many refuse to leave. The mountain gives them food, water, and life, even as it threatens to take it away. Today, scientists monitor Merapi around the clock using seismographs, drones, and satellite imaging. Villagers rely on early warning sirens to flee when activity spikes. Yet, as soon as eruptions calm, they return, rebuilding homes on the same land, planting new crops on the same slopes. It's a cycle of destruction and rebirth that has continued for generations. From a distance, Mount Merapi looks peaceful, its summit wrapped in mist, its sides glowing green with vegetation. But beneath that beauty lies immense power. Each eruption reshapes the landscape, carving new valleys and rivers of hardened lava. It's a living reminder that the earth beneath our feet is never truly still. For those who live here, danger has become part of life's rhythm. Children grow up watching smoke rise from the summit like a morning cloud. Farmers plough their fields beside black rivers of cooled ash. To them, Mount Merapi is not just a volcano, it's family. A terrifying, unpredictable, but deeply respected member of their world. Because sometimes, the most dangerous places to live are also the ones people can never leave behind. If there is any place on our planet that truly feels like another world, it's the Danakil Depression in northeastern Ethiopia. Often called Hell on Earth, it's one of the hottest, driest, and most hostile places ever inhabited by humans. Yet, incredibly, people still live here, surviving where life itself seems impossible. The Danakil Depression sits over 100 meters below sea level, part of the East African rift where tectonic plates tear the Earth apart. This geological chaos creates a surreal, alien landscape, sulfur lakes that glow neon yellow, pools of boiling acid, and salt plains that stretch endlessly under the burning sun. Temperatures can reach up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit 55 degrees Celsius during the day, and the air shimmers with heat so intense it bends the horizon. Water evaporates instantly. Metal tools rust and corrode within days. Even breathing feels heavy here, as if the air itself is toxic. Yet, for centuries, the Afar people have called this inferno home. They are nomadic tribes who live by harvesting salt from the White Plains, cutting it into blocks and carrying it for days on camel caravans to trade in distant towns. It's brutal, back-breaking work under the relentless sun. Salt, once called white gold, has sustained their families for generations. To the Afar, the Danakil is not just home, it's heritage. But life here carries constant danger. Volcanic activity shakes the ground without warning. Geysers erupt with boiling acid. Lakes of molten lava bubble at the Peril volcano, known as the gateway to hell. Toxic gases rise from cracks in the earth, stinging the eyes and lungs. It's a landscape so extreme that NASA scientists study it to understand what life on Mars might look like. Despite these horrors, there's an eerie kind of beauty in the Danakil Depression. The bright green, yellow, and orange mineral formations form patterns unlike anywhere else on Earth. The bubbling acid pools and salt terraces seem almost painted by fire and time. It's a place that defies nature, a living sculpture of chaos and color. Tourists occasionally visit, but few stay for long. The environment is so harsh that electronics melt, shoes fall apart, and dehydration can strike within hours. Yet the Afar people remain, moving with their camels across salt plains as their ancestors did 1,000 years ago. They've learned to live with the heat, to rise before dawn, and to work in silence until the midday sun drives even the strongest to rest. In a world where most of us rely on comfort and technology, the Afar remind us what true endurance looks like. Their lives are not easy, but they are deeply human. They show that even in the most unforgiving places on Earth, the will to survive still burns brighter than the sun above. In the Danakil Depression, life doesn't just endure, it defies reason. Here, amidst fire, salt, and steam, humans have carved out existence in a corner of Earth that feels like the edge of another planet.